Welcome to Investors Hangout, brought to you by Aditya Birla Sun Life Mutual Fund and Value Research. It's my pleasure to welcome the CEO of Value Research, Dhirendra Kumar. Dhirendra, welcome.
Thank you.
More often than not, all the investments are aimed towards retirement, and this is a very, very important plan that we all have to undertake in our lives. All moves are based or directed at retirement. So how much money is important to have a comfortable retirement? How do we figure that out?
I really don't have an answer because it's a very subjective thing. It entirely depends on your context. It depends on your circumstances. It depends on your number of dependents when you retire, your state of health, the amount of assets that you have already accumulated. Think of a person retiring. If he has a house or if he doesn't have a house, so that will actually alter
a lot of factors.
Yeah. But I would say that if one has to do some kind of estimation, then your current income need, assuming that you need 30,000 rupees to live comfortably, or you need 1.5 lakh rupees to live comfortably, which means assuming for ease of calculation, assuming that you need 12 lakh rupees a year to live comfortably, a lakh of rupees a month, which means you need 12 lakh rupees post-tax. After paying taxes, you should have. So now you work backward. Do you have a pension? Do you have a rental income? So remaining money should be supported by return from investment. That should be your retirement corpus. Assuming that you need this whole 12 lakh rupees from your investment and you have nothing else. You have no rental income, you have no pension. Then in that case, this 12 lakh rupees, if it is going to be 4%, your capital should be this 12 lakh rupees should be 4% of your capital. That will ensure, so one can work on a financial plan that you will be living independently. Because ideal retirement plan with investment should be something that you have a 4% withdrawal rate, which will ensure in the initial years, and which will ensure that you can increase your earnings because your capital also needs to grow. Because 1 lakh rupees a month you need today, next year you just might need little more than 1 lakh rupees. 5 years from now, you just might need 1,15,000 rupees with rising inflation. So the investment should be such, and a 4% to 5% withdrawal rate will ensure that you can you can work on an investment plan which can support rising income requirement in your retirement.
So is there a magic figure that fits all? How do we calculate that?
As I said, that there is no magic figure. You have to really worry about your conditions, your circumstances. But doing a realistic assessment, one thing is that you have to take into account the changed circumstances. Look at your annual expenses or monthly expenses multiplied by 12 plus additional extra expenses that happens not so often. So I would say that assuming a 5% withdrawal rate, whatever be your annual requirement, you should have 20 times that money. Assuming that you need 10 lakh rupees in a year, then you need 2 crore rupee, because 2 crore rupee will be able to support the need for 10 lakh rupees now, which needs to be adjusted or revised upward for inflation. And having this 5% withdrawal rate, it looks reasonable. So, and it is important that you err on the side of caution. The reason why I'm actually making it more conservative, I'm putting a larger number, 5%, and is that we are going to live longer. Medical expenses will balloon, which has not been anticipated, and it's very difficult to estimate that when you are young because you don't face those issues. So living longer and health cost is going to be a very significant change in your retirement, and that too in the late stage of your retirement. So working towards that, having this extra preparation and a conservative withdrawal plan of 5% will ensure that because you have to ensure that you are running a plan where you don't run the risk of outliving your savings. That could be a nightmare. And because people are going to live longer, that is going to be a possibility. So while I'm giving this plan whereby we are assuming that all the capital will still be there for your years. So it's not that you need 2 crore rupee for having that 10 lakh rupees a year. If you actually consume a part of your capital, but consume a very small part of your capital over a long period of time, it's fine. But just to be cautious, this is the ultra conservative plan which people should have in their retirement.
Okay, and what is the best way? Where rather, I should ask, where should we invest this kind of money so that we get this kind of return?
People always look for the formula, or look for a specific vehicle, or look for a plan which will take care of everything. And because everybody thinks that there has to be some plan which will take care of it conclusively, and NPS in a moderate way is trying to achieve that. But I think it's very important to understand conceptually what it is. You have a long phase of accumulation because you work for 20-30 years after you get into after you become independent financially. And those 20-30 years, the power of compounding, for it to work, you have to be regular, you have to be increasing, and you have to be disciplined of not taking that money out. So this is your accumulation phase. And in the accumulation phase, be into equity as much as possible. The maximum that you can have in NPS is 75%. With your equity fund, you can well be 100% in the first 10, 15, 20 years. And then have your rebalancing allocation of 10, 25% or whatever till you retire. So if you don't work on your accumulation phase, your retirement is doomed because you can't retire. You have to look at the prospect of working forever, which is not possible. So this particular accumulation phase, if you have these 2-3 things, investing in equity, investing regularly, that is your accumulation phase, and being disciplined about it, not consuming that money. And once you get into the consumption phase, once you get into the income phase, being conservative about it, conservative about the withdrawal, as I was saying that 5% is a fairly conservative thing. Still being in equity, your investment must perform in retirement as well. Because if you invest all of it in fixed deposits, it will be taxable, it will barely match inflation, and it will not grow. And it is important, So it is important for your money to be growing moderately or reasonably, even in retirement, because that is also long phase. That could well last for 20 years, 30 years, which wasn't the case earlier. And so accumulation phase, work hard. Deaccumulation phase, work conservatively and be disciplined.
Okay.
And you can have your retirement plan any way you want to.
Okay. So income generation plan phase is extremely important, just as the accumulation.
Yeah, if you don't have it, then you really won't have anything to support it.
To support yourself. Okay. How should one use the accumulated corpus in the post-retirement years? In the first 4 to 5 years before the retirement, should I do something, or how do I divide the years?
Not necessarily, but just to be a little more cautious, 2-3 years before you retire, start preparing with a fixed income allocation so that your 2-3 years annual income requirement can be had from fixed income. That is one way of looking at it. Assuming that your monthly need is 50,000 rupee and you have accumulated sizable money for accumulation for your retirement. So make sure that you have 18 lakh rupees worth of fixed income investment, fixed income fund investment, which you can start, so next 3 years post retirement, you don't have to worry about income. The rest of the money can still be long term. And then I would say that if you have margin, if you have been able to build a meaningful margin, then having a very simple plan, having 50% into equity through a fund, 50% fixed income through funds, and an annual rebalancing can also take care of it. Or to keep it even simpler but little more aggressive with simplicity, could be a balanced fund. Even a balanced fund can support, or more conservatively, an equity income fund can support a more conservative plan. Here you don't have to worry about the rebalancing yourself. The fund will be rebalancing automatically. You just have to invest, make sure that those investments. So pre-retirement, you have to prepare for 2 things. One is change your equity investments into one of these allocations, either a balanced fund or a 50-50 equity debt or a more conservative one. and prepare with 2-3 years of income requirement entirely into fixed income. These two things and an annual rebalancing if you are doing your equity and debt investments yourself, you have your retirement taken care of.
Okay. Sounds good.
It
sounds
simple.
easy.
Yeah.
Simple.
But it's
what is important, Dhiren, is for the accumulation phase. You have to get into investments now.
Yeah, you have to start.
If you don't have, as you very rightly
early.
said, you will have no income generation phase then.
You will not have accumulation to support your income, and you have to be extremely careful about it, because what happens is because of the liquidity, a lot of investors get tempted that next plus the LCD TV, the World Cup is coming, so resist some of those things, because this is a part of money, part of your financial allocation, which should not be disturbed at all. You have to think in terms of very, very long period and be extremely disciplined about it. Resist your temptation. Of course, extreme emergency, it's your money, use it. But resist your, tempting spending traits to disturb this money.
Okay. So especially the youngsters who are watching us, make sure you start investing now.
Yes,
Extremely
absolutely.
important.